There are all sorts of ways in the trucking industry that drivers can be treated like dirt. And it can come from the trucking companies, it can come from the shippers or the receivers, or even the other drivers. But in my opinion, there are 5 different types of dirt that can be heaped on a driver that is enough dirt that it can cause you that you need to quit carriers and get out. This video is sponsored by Lanefinder. Now, the first type of dirt that the trucking industry can heap on you is the type of stress that can accumulate slowly over a number of years. But when you think about going into work in the morning and you just hate the thought of going into work, if you're getting stress like that from your carrier, whether it's affecting you psychologically, mentally, or it's stressing you out physically, the idea is that you just can't hardly tolerate going into the job. That's the type of dirt that carriers sometimes inadvertently dump on their drivers because it's a hectic workplace, something like that, but accumulates with you to the point that it's giving you grief. And good carriers recognize how important it is to relieve stress that their drivers feel. Drivers need to feel like they're having a fulfilling career, not being stressed out every day to the point that they just hate going into work. So if this is the type of stress you're feeling about your job, get the hell out. The second type of dirt, and this type of dirt is really pretty easy to recognize, is that the stress, the dirt, the grief is coming right from the boss. Now, typically, bosses like this don't change. Generally, if they're a jerk to you and a jerk to others as well, not just you, but if they're a jerk, chances are they've been a jerk since childhood. So there's no correcting this type of stress because that guy's not going to change. If you're working for a jerk that's your boss, get the hell out. The third type of stress, and often it's connected to the boss, is that the whole darn trucking company is a toxic workplace. Everybody hates everybody else. The managers hate the dispatchers hate the drivers all hate each other, they're all jealous of each other because of the runs or the favoritism, and you just don't want to be part of this. You don't need to be part of this. You just want to do your work, be happy, and go home. But if you're in a toxic workplace, it's not going to change. You just need to get the hell out. Speaking of working for a toxic carrier, if you're with one and you do need to get out, Lanefinder has the ultimate job platform to help drivers find the jobs that they want. There are filters on the platform to help drivers narrow down their search to find the carriers best suited for them. You can narrow these filters out to find out what the carrier pays or where they run, how big their fleet is, all sorts of useful information without ever having to talk to a recruiter. I highly recommend that Lanefinder is the ultimate job platform for drivers that need to find the best jobs out there. Check them out at lanefinder.com. The fourth type of dirt that a carrier can throw at you that's just intolerable is they can ask you or tell you to do something that's illegal. They can ask you or tell you to break the law. And this can be anything from running over your hours of service to running overweight to just driving junk equipment or just limping it in when it breaks down. The problem with this type of dirt is that crap always rolls downhill. So at the end of the day, if you as the driver get caught, you're the guy that's going to get the ticket or the black mark on your driver's license. Generally, the carrier gets off scot-free. So that type of dirt is intolerable from a carrier. And it's also intolerable even for the carrier to ask or to tell you to do something that is unsafe at the dock or unsafe at the work site or something like that. Just anything that puts your life in danger or risks your health. That's unacceptable from a carrier. And if they're doing that type of stuff, get the hell out. Finally, number 5, and you all know this is coming, is that carriers consistently cheat you on your pay statements. And they like to say, oh, it was just a mistake and it just happens all the time. No payroll department makes those kind of mistakes. And if you notice, it's never in your favor. It's always in their favor. So it's a deliberate pattern that the carrier has established through their payroll department. Now, this is an incredible way for the carrier just to stand up and yell at the top of their lungs, we're going to treat you like dirt and just pay you less than what we agreed to because we think you're too stupid to even notice. And frankly, we don't really value your work that much. So we're just going to cheat you on your pay. That's an incredible, intolerable type of dirt that carriers like to dish out. It's fairly common, and carriers do it to save money. They do it all the time, but they do it at your expense. Now, there are good carriers out there. If your carrier is cheating you consistently on your pay, go to a good carrier, get the hell out of that one. Gone are the days when a dispatcher or a carrier can treat you like dirt and you can just come up and clock them one in the beak. Those days are gone. They throw you in jail for that stuff now. So if you're in one of these intolerable situations where the type of dirt is coming at you from one of these different directions, the best move is to just get the hell out of there and find a new carrier. There are good ones out there. Now, I've got a story that relates to a carrier that was treating its people like dirt. It was a big carrier out of Quebec. They were running produce out of California into Quebec, and they were treating their people poorly. They were underpaying them. They were forgetting to pay them, all sorts of issues. So finally, this one team had had enough. They'd gone into the office. They tried to straighten out their payroll numerous times. It was just always wrong. So it was obviously deliberate. So what these guys did was they loaded a load of produce off the coast. They came into Walcott. The reefer was running out of fuel. They dropped the trailer low on fuel and just went for a holiday in this company truck. Pretty nice company truck. Went for a week holiday. Never called into the carrier. Of course, the reefer ran out of fuel. All the produce went bad. This is in the days before satellite tracking. And finally, the people at Walcott just called them up and say, hey, you've had a trailer that's dropped here for a week. If you're looking for it, this is where it is. They bobtailed out of Quebec, picked up the trailer, opened the back doors. The whole load was ruined. But the carrier understood that they had screwed this team too many times, and this is what they got in return. Stay safe. Keep the rubber side down. Quit a toxic job. Don't try to ride it out. I'll see you on the back haul.